It is midweek, but the IPL is looking nice and bright considering the games that we've had the past few days. As was the trend yesterday, IPL is IPLing. It certainly is the case. But today on the Dugout, our focus is something else. We're going to be talking about the Indian team, about a statement made by Rohit Sharma, and what does that imply for the Indian Test team. But as is the case, since this is IPL season and IPL is IPLing, we'll deal with the latest story to hit the racks from the IPL run mill. What is it?
One thing before I tell that story, I'm really happy to say that I'm very happy for Yuzi Chahal. I think he deserved that kind of a spell. I think he had been trying a lot, and obviously I wasn't there yesterday. That's why I'm just beginning with this. It was really heartening to see that delivery that he bowled to Rinku Singh. Just pitching outside off, turning in. What a beautiful delivery. But yeah, once again that bat controversy has it's gathering a lot of steam. Sunil Narine and Henrik Nokia's bats, they failed the gauge test yesterday. It was before the KKR innings because Sunil Narine had come out to open, and just before that he had a check with the reserve umpire Syed Khalid, and it failed the gauge test. He had to change it, and even for the Henrik Nokia incident also, it happened just before the 16th over, and that's when Ramanullah Gurbaz came in with those replacements.
In that whole thing, I liked how Sunil wasn't convinced at all with that gauge. So you had to have, I think Ankush Raghuvanshi was the other batter right alongside him. He had his bat too. So the umpire made that his bat pass through the gauge, and it passed freely as it should. And he was showing it to Narine again and again. See, this is how it should be. They're like, no, you try harder, it'll pass through. So he just wasn't wanting to change his bat.
Narine was in utter disbelief. He had a constant chat with the umpire, and he's like, no, it's fine, it's fine. It does look like that, he said that, but it did fail the gauge test.
If you want some more details on what this new thing that IPL has introduced this season in terms of testing the bat, do check out a separate video that we've done on Sports Today with some background as well. That'll give you a bit of an insight. But yeah, this is the first case of someone failing this gauge test. It's been happening for the last few games. You must have seen Hardik Pandya, so many other batters that have gone through it. Most bats have been fine within the regulation. But as you realized yesterday, Henrik Nokia and Sunil Narine, their bat were not within the dimensions specified. What are the dimensions, how it should be done? Please check out. And pardon us if you hear something else and see something else. but do check the detailed story out.
I think that footnote was needed.
I realized while I was telling them that for them to figure out, then they'll be confused which is the right one. But you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. Check the video out. But the reason, just to let you know, which is not part of that story, it's another feedback for whoever did that story, which I forgot to mention, is just a passing mention as to why this season it has started. It was always there, but I think the point to focus on that is previously it used to be done a night before or before the game, and then, as you know, every batter has multiple bats, and so it was very easy for them to then send a different bat for the test and play with a different bat with the same stickering, and would look just the same, but it'll have different dimensions, and you could that way bypass that rule that was there. So this time, to ensure that there is no discrepancy and exactly the bat that is measured is played, they're doing it on field with a very ingenious idea. It's a simple
plastic
gauge,
cutout,
plastic thing,
house shaped.
Yeah, they just put it through. If it passes, it's fine. And as you realized yesterday, it didn't work for Sunil Narine, and so it's a good idea because I think you're trying to get the balance between bat and ball. And you have gotten certain rules which are helping, which are now ensuring that you have some low scoring thrillers as well. Even the high scoring thrillers aren't too many as we'd seen last season. And I guess even a bat like this now, if it was the previous season rule, then some batters would have played with bats that were thicker than the regulation. And what that does is, of course, it allows you that extra punch. It helps you clear the ball. Even if you mistime a ball, it'll go. Sometimes you get an edge also, it'll go for a 6 or a 4 because the edge is so much more thicker. To reduce that and have a parity and a level playing field, I think this is much needed. So good on the umpires, good on the IPL to have brought about this change. Absolutely. Clearly did not help Sunil Narine got out pretty early.
It must have been, caught somewhere. Na? That earlier the rule was that the bats used to be, checked within the dressing room, but now it's actually happening on the field.
Yeah, that's what. So that you can't switch the bat. I'll give a different one in the dressing room and I walk out with a different one. It's good they're doing it on field. Okay, turning our attention to the big story of the day, and that comes from Rohit Sharma. He's on a podcast with Michael Clark, and while he's spoken about various things, the one that has caught everyone's eye is him talking about the England tour. And I'll read out the quote to those of you who haven't seen it yet, heard it yet, or read about it. He said, and I quote, he says, "We want Bumrah, Shami and other bowlers to be 100% fit for the England tour. If we have a full fit team, then obviously we'll have a great series in England." Now is the most important part of this entire quote, which is what we're going to be talking about, where he says it's going to be a good challenge for us in England. Why is the last line the most important, even though on the face of it, it just seems like, an obvious thing to say, is because he said, for us, it's going to be a good challenge, which means that he sees himself as part of the challenge. Because if you saw the earlier part of that quote, he says, we want Bumrah, Shami and other bowlers to be 100% fit for the England tour. You could even say that as a well-wisher of the Indian team. Even if you asked me, I would say, if India have to win, we have to have. If we have a fully fit team, then we'll obviously fight, this. But when it says it's going to be a good challenge for us, now this is not something that a person on the outside or the person that's supporting the Indian team, even a well-wisher or anyone else will say. So this makes it pretty amply clear that Rohit Sharma sees himself as part of that England challenge and obviously as part of the Indian team. And obviously, just an extension, if he is there as part of the Indian team, then he is as captain, right? Or, I don't know, we'll discuss.
Rohit Sharma, the specialist batter in an Indian test team right now, sounds a bit oxymoronic.
I want to get to that. Hold your horse, I want to get at it. But first of all, I want from both of you to let me know, are you also interpreting the last line as I am, that this is an indication from Rohit Sharma that he is part of the England tour?
Before I answer that question, I want to ask you something, and it's with relation to the statement that you had made in January, that when India lost that BGT 3-1, you clearly mentioned that the talks have been had with both Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. Is there something else that you have for us?
Yeah. I'll get to that a little
okay.
later.
So
but first I want to know that is it telling you that for Rohit he's going to England?
Yes, it is. I think you clearly mentioned the reason that you can look at the statement from multiple perspectives. It's maybe about an Indian player or a former Indian player who can say this thing that it's going to be a great challenge for us or for the Indian team. That's one way of looking at things, that we will do well. Secondly, it can also mean that Rohit considers himself or sees himself as a part of this test team for the England tour. Now, whether he's going to do that or not, that remains to be seen. But if you just go by the statement, I think he's going to England. And personally, I think it's a terrible decision. Because
I'll get to the decision. Yeah. We have a lot to talk about. But firstly, I want to know that you think this is what he's implying, right? I don't want to be the only one putting words in the mouth of somebody else. So I just want to be sure that are more people seeing it like that? Yes, Harshit, are you also seeing it just for the moment? Does this statement tell you that in his mind, he's going to England?
For the little and the limited understanding of the English language that I have, I think this is what it means. It doesn't imply anything else. If it was your understanding
of Hindi, I wouldn't have taken your word for it. English, I'll still take it.
But
so you think?
I think it's pretty evident. I'll be very interested to know what has the backroom talk been like, and that's what I think we'll get to as well as we progress in this chat. A little baffling for me, just to touch upon this overall decision, but when the captain says, and he's presently the captain, he's the incumbent test captain, when he says, we look forward to the challenge, and he talks about these players like he's commanding them, when he says that, this bowler, that bowler, 100% fit, we're in for a fight, he sounds like a man in charge right now. He's the one calling the if not calling the shots, he's the one in charge of this team. He's responsible for the outcome. He's responsible for what's happening in the planning process. And I think that communications then happened. Rohit Sharma has been told what I believe could have been the reason. I'll get to that in just a bit. But for now, the messaging seems clear to me.
So you think he has been told that he is going to England, and that's why he said something like that. Okay, just to look at a different view here. Do you also think that, okay, one view is that he feels that he wouldn't have said this if he wasn't 100% confident that he's going, or that he wasn't told that he's going. So he knows that he's going, he's been assured that you're going to go, he's saying it. Could this also be a scenario that, let's say he's not been told, or it's not, any assurance from the outside, but let's say he himself has said that he doesn't want to retire now. He had said it earlier also, right? That, which is fine, that's his prerogative. And right now, because he's not even been told that you're not going to go to England, or that selection talk has not even happened, so then it's very obvious, like if I was the incumbent, if I was the captain and I'm not retired, then I'm obviously talking about the future. That's another thing that in the back of my head I may still be like, okay, selection is out of my control, whatever the selectors decides, the other thing. But right now I'm only talking in the capacity of the fact that I was the captain till last time around, and so he's just saying that, and there is no assurance in his mind. He wants to go. He was the captain. He's not been asked to give up the captaincy now. And so he's just looking at that. Could that be a possibility?
Chances of that are bleak, according to me, because I think he's also privy to what's being said, reported, and what common cricketing logic also suggests about a batter that is in the twilight of his career. You'll have to really make a strong case and pull out some numbers that present a case for Rohit Sharma, the batter, or somebody who's in the prime or peak of his powers right now. That's not the case. Need to admit that he's in the twilight of his career now. So I doubt if, he is looking at it this way, because if he wasn't privy to what was being said, reported, cricketing logic, like I said, he wouldn't have had to come out and give that clarification in Sydney like he did. That he's not going anywhere. He's father of two. He understands how the cricketing world works. He knows what's in the best interest of the team. When he says all of those things, so he knows what's being said, what's being expected, and where the cricketing journey ahead could be for Rohit Sharma. When he says this, I see it coming. This is a responsible comment. It's not an irresponsible comment, and I think it's coming from somewhere. So I don't think that this has just been said because he is technically the incumbent captain. Probably the messaging has happened.
Okay, this is somewhere I have understood a trend in the last few years, that whenever I have interviewed someone who has been out of the Indian team but has consistently done well in domestic cricket or sorts, that player usually gives an interview and puts out those statements that I want to play for India again, I want to do this, I want to do this for my country or something like that. Now that he has won the Champions Trophy, there is form on his side. Yes, I am mixing formats here, but then this is also maybe a statement to the BCCI and the selectors that despite of all the conversations that we have had after the Border Gavaskar Trophy, as it was revealed to us by Nikhil also at Sports Today, I'm sure that this could be more of a statement that he's sending out to the BCCI, that I am truly ready to lead India in the England Test series.
Okay, interesting. So he feels this statement has come because he has been given an assurance from the BCCI that he's going to captain. For you, this statement is not on the basis of he's 100% sure he's going to be captain, but this statement is a sort of a message that he wants to send out to the powers that be, that listen, I'm still there. In my mind, I'm captaining in England. So you better be aware of that. That's interesting though.
I have a question for Gulati there. Why the need for another message? I thought that the Sydney message was very clear as well. And how is this different? Just trying to take
to reinstate
two instances. That because, too in the midst of the
stories are running whether he
IPL.
No, because after that there are still stories that suggesting that he may opt out. There could still be discussions with him. There is a delay in the contract signing as well. They are still contemplating. You don't know what the future holds. If the selectors, as we got to know earlier, had made up their mind that they may be looking beyond the senior pros. So I don't know whether, I mean, not to say that I am 100% sure this is happening.
Take the two statements, if we put them side by side, we place them parallelly, we try and deduce a message out of those, or whatever is the main takeaway from both those statements, I think it'll reduce to the same thing, right?
But there's no harm, no? It's like, I think if you really want to send a message, you mention it a few times and reinstate it. It's been a long time since then. And you know that the selection will not be too far. And let's not forget, in all of this, there is also the timing of the central contracts. I believe that the contracts have been pushed a bit from the time that they had to be announced. We've already, October is usually the time when the contract, September is when it gets over. So we are already about 6-7 months beyond the time when the contracts have expired and you still haven't heard. And now what we're getting to hear is that maybe they'll skip this entire cycle because now you're not too far away from the next cycle, which will start in October. So you might as well announce it for the next cycle only. And for this previous year gone by, you might stick to whatever was the contract last time around. So whoever was in whichever grade, you might give them your retainership based on what has happened. And I think that's why it's very interesting, the timing of where the contracts are, England team selection, and this particular quote. I think all of that put together does make it interesting. But it's good to know, that's why I'm saying, like in his mind, it's probably more a message from Rohit to the powers that be, that listen, he's put his hand up, I'm there. In my mind, I'm going there. I'm ready to take that challenge. I know this is my team and we will do it, or whatever. And in your mind, he pretty much knows where it's going. So, okay, that's that. Before we...
No, I think that's pretty much relatable also. I'm sure that, we must have all experienced this thing, in our careers also, that whenever you interview a player who is out of the Indian team, doing well in the red ball cricket or white ball domestic cricket, they do tend to give out these statements. And I think they usually come at a time when there is a big tour ahead or a big tournament ahead also. And this time, I think it does make sense for Rohit to give this statement.
There's a difference. Like when you're talking about those players who are out of the team, they say, we want to be in the Indian team, right? In this case, he's not telling you what he wants. In this case, he's telling you that, it is going to be a tough challenge for us. So that statement is that you're sending a message saying that, listen, look at me and select me. In this case, he's not really saying that. In this case, he's saying, I'm looking forward to the challenge and it's going to be a tough challenge. I hope my team is there. Bumrah is fit, Shami is fit, and we're going. So there is a distinction between.
But if the talks have been had, then this statement definitely means something else.
Okay, so
that's the issue.
Because
I'm just going back to your comment.
I don't think he would have agreed for this if there hadn't been prior talks, or he would have. We know how this business works of podcasts featuring for each other, etc., etc., and you discuss things that you want to talk about, and there's a clear demarcation about territories that you don't want to enter.
Yeah, so if you want to send a message, then you want to talk about.
This could very well have been just about the IPL. This could just have been about his legacy in the IPL, or what he makes about the changing brand of cricket.
But this question is England, not directly.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So because Rohit also, I think, has that clarity, number one. Number two, in his head as well, whether, while I believe that clarity he's gotten already because of Champions Trophy, I don't think he would be assuming that it's a given.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I don't think either of you are right or wrong. It's just a way of looking at it. And I think the only person who can really answer it, what really is in his mind, or what is the message really, is it a message sent to the selector saying that, pick me, I'm still, or in my mind, I'm still the captain, or is it that he already knows that he's going to England? So for that, I'll just give you a bit of a backgrounder for those of you who don't know. I mean, if you are a regular watcher of Sports Today, you would have known, because, I've shared this previously as well, a few months ago, while the Australian tour was happening, that, listen, Rohit decided to step down. And that wasn't a decision that went down very well with Gautam Gambhir and Ajit Agarkar, more so the chairman of selector in Ajit Agarkar, who wasn't keen for Rohit to sit out. He wanted him to play because, what is the worst thing that could have happened is he could have failed. And as it turned out, India lost that match, and, even if you had replacements, there wasn't too much of a difference. And anyway, I think you were in a stage where you were going to be taking a call about his future after the tour. So if you're going to drop yourself a game before that, then you're only hampering your chances of getting selected. The better option would have been that if you played, who knows, a good knock, that would have given him a lifeline. Anyway, that discussion happened, and Rohit, I've said it earlier also, he took a very, despite some other reporting that he was dropped or whatever. That's absolutely incorrect. Rohit himself did step down, and we had said this at that time. A lot of people did not like it. Somebody said that you're doing PR for Rohit, but it was a selfless decision. He thought, for the sake of the team, I will step aside. So that was a story till then. After that, as I said, that the selectors did have conversations, and I stick by that story, with both Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma about their test futures, saying that it's what is it that you're thinking? How long do you want to play for? We've not had a great time. We are also looking at the future. Not like told them what they've thought of in England, but the conversation does mean that they're worried right now in terms of where the Indian test team is going. And they may, looking at the England tour, be looking at taking a few calls. That doesn't necessarily mean that both of them don't get selected, or one gets selected, the other doesn't. But at least the conversation was had and put in their mind that, listen, notice period is on, results aren't coming. So if we have to take a drastic decision, it should not come as a shock to anyone. We are also thinking in those terms. So that also I know did happen. Now there is a twist to this entire tale, and that happened after the Champions Trophy. As I think we did a dugout about 3-4 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, where I did mention in detail what really happened at that Champions Trophy meeting. There were conversations, and Rohit did express his desire to continue as the test captain as well, considering he had taken India to yet another ICC title. And he said that, listen, and without doubt, Rohit has been the best white ball captain that you've had in a long, long time, and probably one of the best. So he said that, there is this team that I've managed well, and I've taken them to a title. So I be given another chance to take the Indian test team also forward. We may have had a few hiccups. From what I gather, I know this was a plea that went out from Rohit. From what I gathered, the powers that be within the BCCI kind of verbally gave him that assurance that, yes, of course, you're very good. And you got to remember the time also. Everyone's happy, right? Even the board is happy. You won, and he's your captain. He's taken you to the title. He's done well as a batter as well. There was a verbal sort of, that's not a guarantee, but there was a verbal sort of a nod from the BCCI. Yes, you've done well, and yes, maybe that is a possibility. Now the thing is that, one person giving a assurance within the BCCI does not necessarily mean that might happen. Because a decision to play or drop someone as big as a Rohit or Virat or whatever can't be taken by one person, right? There'll be many people involved. Remember, selectors is also not one. There's not one chairman of selector. There are other selectors as well. Everyone has a vote. You have to have a discussion. There will be the current secretary. Remember, there's been a change in that scenario as well. There'll be a current secretary as well. Let's also not forget that in all of this, especially when it comes to change of captain, the BCCI president also has a say. Whether, I'm not saying that the president will exercise his right or not, that's entirely up to you, but I'm saying there are so many pieces to the puzzle right now as to know 100%
the coach as well.
Yeah, what is going to happen. And yes, of course, there is a coach as well. What is he thinking? Was he happy with the decision that was taken there? Remember, his neck is also on the line. Even though India may have won the Champions Trophy, you've lost 2 monumental series. So he would not want to ruin his legacy, because those questions then will be asked. They already talk about having coaches for 2 different formats. So all of that has to be done. The chairman of selector was part of that discussion when he dropped himself. So all of them are going to have a vote, and that, I believe, the discussions are ongoing. I believe, why I'm saying it's ongoing, not that you're selecting the England team immediately, but also because you have your contracts to discuss, and you need to be on the same page as to what happened, which is why I think now they're kind of finding a midway where you're avoiding a situation by announcing the contract for the coming season, because that might set the cat amongst the pigeon, and people may think that
But you can jolly well get away with the whole contract situation as well, because we know that it starts from the 1st of October, so it is a retrospective and a forward-looking contract.
Exactly,
as well,
but the thing is, if you come and now announce it, so people don't understand. A lot of them it's retrospectively. Let's say, I don't know, you put everyone in A+, let's say Rohit, Virat, all of that, then everyone thinks, they're there. Nobody remembers that a lot of it is retrospectively. Then they think, now that means they are there for a long-term future. And if you're an A+, you have to be a test player, right? By the
People
whole
confuse it often
definition.
with the financial year.
So that's what I'm saying. So the one way is, the way I'm looking at it now, and this is just hazarding a guess because really nobody knows. There is a possibility that you might then allow these two senior players to go for the England tour, where you do not announce the A+ contract for the coming season. So retrospectively, they'll be in A+ anyway, because you remember that season gone by, they were in A+. So if you continue with the last season contract, then it is pretty much natural, right? It's the October onwards time that will be where you're going to be deciding. So maybe you don't announce it now at all, and you let the England tour happen. And if things go
there's already been a delay
plan,
in terms of contract announcement. I think last year it happened in the month of February.
That's what I'm saying. So now you allow that to happen, the England tour to happen, after which then you're in a better position, because clearly that would be the last sort of opportunity. I mean, if that opportunity, we'll get to that, whether they should get that last opportunity or not. But even if you were to give, that possibly will be the last opportunity. And so if you don't do well, and I think in that sense, both Rohit and Virat are in the same boat. And so if England doesn't work out that way, then maybe you wait, and then the next contract you don't find them.
Are you saying that the contract announcement gets easier after you take them to England?
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah.
But is the contract announcement really that big a thing?
It
because
is, no.
You can still justify. The way I'm looking at this is, you can announce it right now, and you can still justify them being in A+,
That's what I'm
because
saying.
you can always cite the last 6 months.
That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm
and
saying.
then legacy players and all, and that's fine. You don't have to necessarily take them to
But
England.
that's what I
as a result.
said. No, they're going to announce this contract saying this is the same as the last time. That is what. But it's a new contract which you were expecting may not be announced now, and then that comes a little later. So that won't go on till Feb. Or you could not announce anything right now, and only announce the new contracts after the England tour, and the remaining players just get paid retrospectively without an announcement.
So it'll be roughly about August in that case. It's a good month long.
But then for that you will be ahead of the time announcing the next contract.
Yeah, but also late at the same time by a good 8 and 10 months.
So see, that's where I think that's what I'm trying to say. This is a probably type of a compromise that you're arriving at. A compromise you're arriving at to avoid, an explosion in terms of the messaging that goes out. Do you remember? I mean,
so is the way I understand the situation? If the central contracts are so central to this overall discussion, then is the BCCI worrying a little too much about the optics and the messaging than what should ideally be done?
It can't be easy, no? How can it be so easy? You announce
you've lost two big series. I think the writing's on the wall, and it should be. You've been too tolerant in that case and worrying about things. You're not putting Indian cricket first, if you ask me, in that case.
That's a fair personal opinion to have. But I'm right now, without expressing a personal opinion, I'm just saying what does seem like is the case for BCCI. And you know that optics really play a role in. Everyone does try to ensure that a thing can be done in the best possible way without really drawing yourself into a major controversy. And if things can be done, I think this seems to be the way. But the bigger question is, doesn't matter what the messaging is. Should he?
The should word.
Be going to England?
2 steps back if that happens. I don't want Rohit Sharma to lead India in England. I think this is something that we've had a chat in the previous dugouts also regarding the Indian cricket team, BGT defeat and all that stuff. Who should be the captain going forward? Should it be Shubman Gill? Should it be Rishabh Pant? I think this is the start of the new WTC cycle. You are any which way is not going to play that final at Lord's. You would know that the goal is to make sure that you build a team that can be sustained for the next 2 years or so, and hopefully play a third WTC final and maybe just go on to win it. For that to happen, you need to invest in a new captain, because Rohit Sharma, the captain, you cannot really be sure about his future as a test player. He's obviously on the wrong side of his 30s. Form isn't there as far as test cricket is concerned. Same can be said about Virat Kohli, but then he's a different topic that we can obviously come back to later. But now in case of Rohit, there is no form. Even as a captain, he did not really inspire any confidence in the BGT also. So this is the right time to invest in a new captain. I don't care who that new captain is. It can be Shubman Gill, it can be it can be Rishabh Pant for that matter. But there needs to be a new captain. You don't have to look at the England tour. You have to look at the next WTC cycle and potentially a third final and also potentially a WTC title too. So that's where I think the planning has to start, and it has to begin from the England tour itself. You can lose in England, that's absolutely fine. If you lose with Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, there are going to be bigger questions. But if you lose with a younger captain, with a younger squad too, I don't think there are going to be many questions, because you are starting a new team, you are starting that transition, and it has to happen from the England series itself.
I have nothing more to add to that thought, because I think there's only downsides to having your senior pros play and then lose. But I think in losing with a younger side, there's still an upside over there. It comes with a silver lining. Losing with players you've seen and have been a bit of a failure for a sustained period, now you don't learn anything new, especially because they're on the twilight, in the twilight of their career. With youngsters, it's a bit of a gamble, but you take these bold calls. You give them the experience, because when else like this, we've seen so many players not given the experience. A Sarfaraz was benched the whole time. An Abhimanyu Easwaran has only been travelling. His visas have come to no good, speaking of cricketing gains. So you rather give your youngsters a chance, so that you don't have that baseless thing to say about them going forward, that first time we can't make them play over here, second time we it can't just be that South Africa they're going to be debuting, Australia they're going to be at some point a debut has to be handed, simple as that. And especially when Indian cricket is in that need, when there are gaping holes that one can see, and it's not like you've been discourteous to your senior pros or been discourteous to Rohit. You've given a fairly long rope and made an exception. It should be a completely fair call.
Of not having it.
Of not having.
Oh, I mean, again, I think I don't want to be repeating what I think Gulati has already said, a lot of those things. And that's my thing with it. If you're not going to start a new season with a young team, let's say you go with an older team, look at the worst case scenario. And it's not a pretty scenario to be in. Let's say you do not have it's a long 5-match series. You're down in the first 2 test matches. Let's say runs haven't come from your senior pros bat. What are you going to do with that situation? Are you in a position at that time to drop him and get another opener? Are you in a position at that time to change the captain in the middle of the series? If you are, what does that do to both parties involved? The team, which will have to have a change of leader in the middle of a series, then that means even if there was, some sort of coming back into the series, it takes a hit, because changing leaders in the middle of the series, as you know, is never going to pay out. And of course, you've gone with the plan and ideas of one captain. How do you then change that in the middle of the series? Also, that power transition, how does that happen? That's not easy either. So I think it's going to be a messy situation you will find yourself in if the first few test matches don't go their way. Secondly, imagine having to lose a third series in a row. I think that in itself will be a major disaster, and you don't want to risk that. So if you'd lost it with a young team, it will still be digestible, because you're saying you're building and you're getting a young team going. But if you do it with that, then again, when do you then start your rebuild process? To risk a series to see whether you should start the rebuild process now or later, I think is also a bit of a risk. And also looking at the other party, let's say the matches don't turn out the way that Rohit would want or he's charged up to do. How much does it impact Rohit, the player, and the brand and the personality if you're dropping in the middle of the series and changing captaincy? I don't think fans would want to remember Rohit, who's been, as I mentioned, one of the best white ball captains we've ever had, face this ignominy of being in England and having to be changed in the middle of the series. That, is not something that he'd want to happen. Again, I'm only looking at the worst case scenario. Yes, the other scenario is he comes in, scores a lot of runs, and the team does outstandingly well, and that's a different thing. But you're also going with this gamble that may harm both parties, as I said. That will be Rohit, the player himself, and the Indian team as well. So do they want to take that? I'm not really 100% convinced.
Absolutely. I think it's not just about Rohit, the leader also. He may have said this thing to the host broadcaster that I only decided to stand down from the SCG test. That does not mean it's going to be the end of my test career. But I think that is where I think the selectors do need to take that hard call. That listen, boss, we are done with you as far as test cricket is concerned. The results haven't been there. Maybe the starting point was that home series against New Zealand, because ideally, before the series, nobody expected India to lose by a margin of 3-0. And even 2-1, wouldn't have been, expected by anyone for that matter. That happening, not qualifying for the WTC final, I think that's about it. And even in case of Virat Kohli also, I know he's not a part of this discussion because this does just revolves around Rohit Sharma. I don't think both of them deserve a place in this Indian Test 11 as of now.
See, what I'm picking up, I think because of the overall test record that Virat posts off, I know that even his form is under scanner, but even he will be on a notice period. Even if he goes to England, I'm sure he will also be on a notice period as to, it could be a make or break series as well. But I still feel that, okay, if you gave him a few matches to see, because let's not forget that, in the middle he's got a few hundreds. I know his average is really down, but on good tracks, yeah, you could argue that they're good tracks, but he found a way to get 100, right? And let's not forget also, I'm also looking at that South Africa series where he looked like your best batter in tough conditions. Did not, get daddy hundreds or anything, but his 70s and whatever, he did look like your best.
Temperament, I know, but that's
in those
also
tough conditions.
We're going too far back in time.
No, not that far back. I'm just saying it was the last cycle, no? So
2024.
Yeah, so it's the last cycle where he did. So I'm saying maybe I agree that at the moment both are looking like really out of shape. But if you had to extend that courtesy, maybe slightly more to a Virat Kohli at this moment. But even that will not last very long if he does not have an
That
idea
will also be a very
series.
generous move. You're totally well within your right to take a call on both. And it won't be a wrong call. It will not be a wrong call. The only people I see finding it wrong will be those who have allegiances to the two players. But if you have Indian cricket at the heart of it all, then I don't think you will blame the BCCI or the selectors for taking a harsh. It will actually, truth be told, not be a harsh call. It will just be the right call. It won't be harsh.
And that's the comment, and we always love to get the perspective of our viewers as well. And as I can read, and I'll read a few of those, we have somebody called Sports here with a Z, and he says, just give chances to players like Sai Sudarshan, Karun Nair, etc. Sai Sudarshan, yes, but I don't know whether they'll go back to a Karun Nair. I mean, I just as they didn't go back to Rahane or a Pujara for this BGT, even though there were a lot of calls for it. So keeping that in mind, it seems unlikely, even though he's in the form of his life. But yeah, youngsters, yes, you need to look at that. Last Spade says, Indian team is paramount, not any individual captaincy aspirations. And I think that's the sentiment that you had in this room as well. Sarat Chandra is saying, Nikhil sir, I am a Rohit fan. But I too, as a Rohit fan, don't want him to play Test. Again, no clubbing Rohit and Virat. Maybe those wins in Champions Trophy gave him 2 Test life to prove. But Rohit, the captain, has been poor too. So let's see.
We need more people to be expressing this thought, I feel. At times, these are very personal thoughts. And when it comes to public platforms or whatever view that we have and oftentimes present on social media platforms, people end up picking that route of my player versus yours. But you need to keep Indian cricket forward and you need to forget these things.
But there are other comments as well. As I said, it's a very balanced comments that we're getting. There is Ravi Shankar Kumar who says that I will give Rohit Sharma whole England series and will say go play with fearless mindset and try to win this series.
I just have a question for Ravi Shankar Kumar here. What if you are 2-0 down after the first matches? Then what do you do?
I have another question.
Rohit Sharma does not score. He's poor as a captain.
Who's to say that this was not said after whatever had happened in home conditions?
It was said in Australia too.
Exactly. That's my point.
Fearless cricket.
That's my point. Because you did everything you wanted to. You tried with that fearless thing. You said you wanted to play at the top of the order. You asked KL then to come back, even though that wasn't the right move to do, especially when KL was showing promise up top. You did that. So you tried yourself in different positions. Now these are just then you're being a little gimmicky if you say, okay, today I'm going to use the word fearless. Next time around, I'm going to use the word experience. The time after that, I will use something else. So you're just finding excuses at the end of the day to justify your decision and unwilling to take a call which you should be taking.
Okay, we've got Venkata Nanduri. He says you guys have an axe to grind against Rohit, assuming being out of Delhi. So he thinks that since we are from Delhi, we have an axe to grind up. Venkata, I mean, you can say that anything, but I mean, the last thing you should probably be saying that our opinions are based on region. I don't think you watch us enough. So, I mean,
and we have enough regional representation here.
No. Even if we did not, I mean, I think that's the last thing you should be alleging. So, just that, of course, you can disagree with us and you can think that we are extra, but please don't bring region, religion, all those things. None of us see that through that lens. The fact that this crossed your mind, I think, is also not fair. I think you should introspect a bit while saying that. He says, but yeah, if you have a cricketing opinion, we'll definitely take that. He says it is not mathematical. See the last 8 tests and make a call. Captaincy is not science, it's an art. Your premise is he will fail. No, our premise is exactly
he has
that.
failed.
Yeah.
You look again, mathematical only, Venkata. Everything's mathematical and statistical. You look at, he didn't cross 31 runs in Australia. You could calculate what the I think average was about 5.5, 6. So for that, you look at New Zealand, you look at the whole. Yes, he was good in the lead up to the final of the 2023 WTC cycle, but after that, it's all been downhill.
True. Let's take the next one. Priyanshu says England test team is rubbish. We might do well. They aren't Australia. That's another way of looking at it. But I don't think so. England in England conditions will be a different beast. Yes, you hammered them in India and all the baseball talk. I don't think so. Conditions also. I know England now has over the years become flatter, but you saw last time India were tested, you were leading, but you played out of your skin, and then they chased down that massive total in the deciding test. So they leveled it. But remember at that time, you were firing on all cylinders, and that's why it took you there. Now you're going through one of your worst forms. That time you were the kings of the world. You won 2 back-to-back BGT series, my friend. I don't think it's going to be as simple as that. I don't think so. And if Jofra Archer is back in form as he's showing in the IPL right now, if he plays the test series.
Though today I hope he doesn't show much form.
No, that's another thing. But I'm just saying it will not be that. Chili Paneer feels that this England series will be absolute chaos.
If India have Rohit as captain, I'm just, filling the blanks of that statement.
No, it'll be a chaos any which way. Whoever, I mean, it won't be an easy series. If you go with a young team also, they'll be really tested. So get ready for a very tough fight. I think that is true. Dev Pratap Singh Chauhan says, Nikhil, as someone who's been following cricket for the past 35 years, nice to know that, sir. It says, I always knew BCCI will pick Rohit and Virat post Champions Trophy win. They will do wait and watch in England series. If they fail, home series will be their last. Okay, that he even is ready to give them another series after that.
Entire series, 5 test matches.
I don't know. I'm not too sure about that, but yeah.
The main problem will arise. You lose the first couple of matches. Rohit does not score runs as captain. What do you do then? And it's going to be more chaos.
Yeah. Okay, Ari says Rohit doesn't leave either ODI or Test until he wins World Cup, and Dhoni doesn't leave IPL until he wins 6 trophies as Rohit. God save us. Ari sees the funny side of it. Anshu Mishra says, Nick sir, that's why I hate Indian players due to this selfish nature. Rohit should have retired after the 2023 World Cup from all formats. No. He's gone on to win you the T20 World Cup and the Champions Trophy. So white ball cricket, I've said it before, I don't think so. In fact, I've gone so far as to say that I would keep him as captain till the 2027 World Cup. If he's delivering results, if his bat is firing, and okay, you can look at IPL, his bat not firing, but he's been firing for India, he's been playing a lot of impactful knocks. When there is nothing wrong there, then why should I look at age or anything else if everything is working fine? The problem arises that in red ball cricket, it tends to get tougher as you age. So I think that is the big issue, and not so much. So, I'm not going to be looking at mixing the two formats. I don't think that is fair. Yeah. We've got Vinod who says that Rohit's major problem is captaincy in Test. Worst case, okay to play as a batter. He's not a great red ball captain and it's going down even more. He let so many games slip with his captaincy since New Zealand. You guys agree with him? Okay, let's go back to that. If not as captain, you were okay with Rohit as a player?
No, and that's
Test
not happening. I think had he scored some runs in Australia, I'm sure my statement would have been different here. But Rohit, the batter in Test cricket in the last 8 to 10 matches has not inspired any confidence at all. Apart from that 50 that he scored against Bangladesh, I think in one of the Test matches, no notable innings whatsoever.
In fact, I have a different opinion. If you could have a non-playing captain, I'd take Rohit. Because I even in Test match cricket, I think he's good enough. Yes, you can have bad days, but I genuinely like Rohit, the captain in Test match cricket. But it's the problem which I find right now with Rohit, the batter in Test match cricket. And it's nothing to do with, I mean, as I said, he's been a great servant of the game. He's, genuinely likable guy. All of those things work. He's been a fantastic captain. But even the best batters reach the end of their lifeline. And Test cricket is that format that exposes it the first. You can carry on, and that's why you can have, Dhoni at 43 still win you a white ball game. But you put him in Test cricket, you'll see the difference. That's what I'm saying. Okay, Freaking Awesome has a squad. He says his squad for England series will be Rahul, Jaiswal, Gill, Virat, Shreyas, Pant, Jadeja, Nitish, Bumrah, Siraj, Akash, Sudarshan, Sarfraz, Jurel, Shardul, Kuldeep, Washi, Karun, Prasidh and Harshit. What an interesting squad.
I kind of agree
it's a
with
good squad.
99% of the squad except Sarfaraz Khan. I would want to have him, but after what happened in Australia, I'm not sure whether the selectors would want him.
There's nothing
He
happened.
did not even practice.
Nothing happened in
his fault.
Australia.
And after that, he has suffered injury also, and he has played hardly any competitive cricket. So there could be, the statement that he has to play some cricket to prove his fitness.
But you think that's fine?
No, I'm saying that I would want Sarfaraz, but I don't see him playing the England series. That's the point.
You are second guessing BCCI. You think BCCI will not?
Yeah, but rest of the squad, I think.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. He never got to play. How can he be dropped for not playing a series?
I think I would probably add one more name here, Devdutt Padikkal.
That was another name in my mind. Yeah.
Shahi Kishle says that Rishabh should be vice captain.
Who should be the captain then? Rohit.
Bumrah could be.
Can he play all 5 Test matches, or will he play all 5 Test matches? That's the point.
We don't know. He is a possibility. They announce him.
Past president makes it Rishabh for me. Past presidents. AJ says, I know where.
I'm not taking it for a reason.
Okay.
So, AJ is talking about extracurricular activities that happen in his hometown. But what has that got to do with us in the dugout when that is happening? So, if you know of that, that is an illegal activity that's happening. So, stay away from it. That's my only advice. Okay. Priyanshu says it's going to be not India, England, Choru, Bumrah. Ooh, that's a juicy contest.
I want to see just one more time Ollie Pope's stumps get uprooted. The way they did in
might not
Vizag.
be a sure shot starter also.
Okay, quickly going through a lot of comments. Tarun says, Nikhil sir, Indian vice captaincy, Bumrah fitness or Shubman Gill is not performance in Sena. Gill averages less than Bhuvi in Sena. That is true. But then I think Gill is all format play. Right now you'll have to give him a chance. You'll have to see it. Yes, if this trend continues, maybe you take a call in the future. Right now
Because at home, I think last year he averaged 45.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you have to give him that longer rope. Siddharth says, I think series whitewash was a dagger to Indian cricket prestige. Problem is we have overhyped T20 World Cup and Champions Trophy. Though on merit, Rohit wasn't getting 2024 T20 World Cup. I agree, but again, Siddharth, you're also mixing formats. They did well in white ball cricket overall. They didn't do well in Test match cricket, but then why should he be dropped from another format if it's not there? Atira Dheeraj says, I strongly believe that T20 batting technique is spoiling the purest form of cricket. What do you guys think?
I think we've had a lot of chat around it. It is happening. A lot of players who usually were, good Test players haven't really done well. I think it's a case of mixing formats and not adjusting to techniques. Has happened with KL Rahul, has happened with Ajinkya Rahane for that matter. Even happens with Virat Kohli. So nothing new.
Hard hands.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about it, and it's physically not possible because the demands are completely different, and then that creeps into your muscle memory, and then those errors will start coming. If you follow the core of Test match cricket, then you will not be a slam bang player that you are in T20. You can try to be as good as you are, but then there will be certain areas where you'll miss out. Those extra 4 or 6s, 1 or 2 can make a difference. Ditto the other way around. Those, certain bad habits, let's say hard hands, or, not using your feet and standing and just whacking it from where you see the ball. Those things will trouble you in Test cricket. It will happen. That's why I say Virat is such a great of the game that amongst all batters, he's found a way to be reasonably successful in all formats, which is so difficult to do. But he did that, so that's what makes him a great.
Even Kane Williamson also did it at some stage.
But he didn't have that T20 impact that Virat has had.
At least, in some of
he was
the games
averaging
that he
50
played,
plus in IPL, one season so many hundreds and all of that.
973
that
runs and all.
Exactly what I'm saying. Very few people who can. He had that impact in Test as well as T20.
Okay, Shahi Kisle, it's in with the response to the previous comment that he made that if Bumrah is not fit for the 4 Test matches, then Pant should be appointed captain. So, with respect to his earlier comment, he wanted Bumrah to be the captain and Pant to be vice captain. But if Bumrah is not fit, then
yeah, there's a possibility. Or let's say he rests for 1 Test, it can change. But as things stand right now, it does seem like you'll have Rohit as captain. And
it does.
Yeah.
But 2 steps back.
Okay, quick word on the game today before we wind up.
Delhi fan?
Sashwat had pointed out arithmetic progression yesterday for which franchise? For one of the franchises.
KKR.
For KKR. With RR as well, they're going through a bit of a arithmetic progression. Lost the first 2, won the next 2. Now they've lost 2 matches. Today, they should ideally be winning with that arithmetic progression in mind. But I think there's a gap. There's a wide gap between the 2 sides right now. They're number 2 and 8 for a reason. And I see Delhi romping to a victory today.
I think Delhi are missing Faf du Plessis. He provides that stability factor at the top of the order, and even at the age of 40, he's been playing those explosive knocks around the globe as far as T20 leagues are concerned. So if he's not fit, I think that opening combination does look a little dodgy because JFM is not inspiring any confidence at all. You may just want to try Jonovan Ferreira or maybe push KL Rahul up the order and have someone else in the middle order.
You can stick with Karun in that case.
Yeah, you can stick with Karun.
That also is a bit of a conundrum. The moment Faf du Plessis gets fit, how do you fit Karun Nair in the batting order? I expect Karun to feature in this match as well because while Faf du Plessis was seen doing some sort of practice drills, it's still not clear from the franchise whether he's a short starter today. The little worry I have with regards to Delhi is Jake Fraser-McGurk. The rope needs to end at some point. I'd rather try someone else if it's not working out for 6 matches on the trot. So hopefully he comes good today because otherwise I see not there being light at the end of the tunnel for him.
And even there's no latest update on Nattu.
Yeah, nothing on Nattu as well.
Because if he is fit, he should be playing ahead of Mukesh Kumar. If he is fit though.
Okay, we had a couple of questions. We'll take that before. There you got. Jaspir Singh says, so Virat can fail for 5 years, but Rohit gets judged for 5 months. How many series has he really failed? Stop this bias, he feels. You guys didn't want Rohit in T20 World Cup too. Check old videos. No, but that I think wasn't just for Rohit Sharma. I think after the 2022 T20 World Cup, everyone was of the opinion that you should have a T20 team overall that included even Virat Kohli. And the Indian team were very close to doing that. But how did the Indian team win? It's because the same personnel changed their game and changed their approach. That's how you won.
And you made Virat the opener as well, na?
Exactly my point.
You changed things up.
Nobody has an issue with a certain player, Jasbir. It was about where that team was going. And you went for the 2021 World Cup. You got knocked out of the first round. 2022, you lost badly in the semi-final. You were getting exposed because there was a clear fear of failure there, and you were playing percentage cricket. You were playing outdated T20 cricket. That needed to change. And obviously, the first thought is that you change the personnel, and with that, it would have changed. You did not, but the personnel remained. They changed their approach, and so you went on to win the World Cup. Of course, tactically also you played a masterclass. You were playing in West Indies and US where you went with extra spinners. That also really helped you. If you were playing in very different conditions, it would have still been a tough challenge for you to win. So, but that credit to the team and the management, the captain, how they thought. But let's also look at what we were advocating. We were advocating a young approach to T20 cricket. That's exactly what you've got now after the T20 World Cup. Please see this team. It's playing a notch above. You may like it or not. It's playing a notch above than the team that won the T20 World Cup also. Dare I say you make that T20 World Cup winning team, play this current Indian T20 team, and out of the 5 matches, 4 this young team will win. It's an honest opinion. So what we were advocating for is a fresh start. You delayed it. Yes, you won the T20 World Cup. Kudos to that. But your young team is showing you that they are really next level. That's a fact. So there was no personal animosity as you are alleging. There is just talk of Indian cricket. And as I said, if you do watch our program for very long, our opinions have changed, and that does mean that there is no long-term bias against anyone, or there is any bias against anyone. Shubham Garg says, I have a feeling Virat is going to make a bang in England series. He was talking about BGT in CT Win interview. He's clearly hurting seeing his test legacy in down. That's a point. He could very well. He is that sort of a player. He has that mentality to do that. Okay, on that note, we're going to bid you guys goodbye. We love reading your comments. If you are not on our live stream, do put in your comments in the comments section. If you're watching this video later, and we'll read those as well. So it really, makes our job so much more fun that we get to interact with you, and we love this two-way communication. So do that. Before we wind up, there's another question from Shubham. He says, Knicks are not opting to play Sydney Test has 2 sides. One selfless side, other being scared of another failure. Why only highlight selfless side? Because it was a selfless side. I firmly believe that no player likes to leave, and that fear of failure was less. I know, Shubham, you're a big Virat fan, so you would love for me to, troll, but I'm not going to do that. I will say what I did. On this platform, we've just said that we would not idly want to see Rohit, in the test team. But that also doesn't mean that I will shy away from saying that the decision that he took at that time, in my opinion, was a selfless decision. Simple as that. I see no other side to it.
And I don't think Rohit Sharma should have missed that test. That's where Gautam Gambhir missed the trick. He should have pushed Rohit Sharma to play that test.
No, I said they did. But he was adamant.
But he should not have been given a choice. I think he should have been told that you are playing this test.
It's easier said and done. See, as I said, they didn't agree, but again, there has to be a two-way conversation.
They agreed and did not agree.
Yeah.
As Rohit said.
I did.
Oh, you said that, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
They agreed but didn't agree.
I did give an example
also. We said
also.
that 3-4 weeks ago, we told you that had happened.
I did give an example also, during that time when he was dropped. 2010, Gautam Gambhir, poor form. He goes to Gary Kirsten, tells him that drop me, I want to go back to domestic cricket, get some form and come back into the Indian team. Gary just tells him, play one more match for me. Goes out, scores a 70 and a 50 in that test. Another test, 50 in the succeeding ODI series, leads India to a 5-0 win over New Zealand. And in hindsight, had Gautam Gambhir, dropped himself from that team, who knows, he might not have even played the 2011 ODI World Cup. That's where I felt that Gautam Gambhir missed a chance to save Rohit Sharma's test career. Because earlier he was the player, Kirsten was the coach, and now Gambhir is in a different position. So that's just my way of seeing things.
Just as he missed a chance, Pawan has missed a chance to open another chat for us. Today is chilling. Down?
I think that's...
Yeah, done.
Acha, that was it? I saw one more pop up, so I thought. Apologies, Pawan. Okay, guys, thank you for your company. Take care. Of course, the toss update will be up next and the mid innings as well. But most of all, join us for the post-match show, where we will be on for 1 hour discussing whichever team has won. If you go by this room and the prediction, it could be Delhi Capitals most likely. But it's the IPL. 111 got defended last evening. So who knows what might happen today. Take care. Bye-bye. See you soon.